believe Arcadia shall ever return to how it was?
Law. I haven't seen this many folks crammed together since recall libations night at the Frosted.
Between the Protectorate and the Order?
Smells about the same, too.
Shame what happened there. I seen the whole thing.
What you think about, you bring about.
By calculating the position of every atom in the universe, the future, control reality, and ascend to a state.
What is it? I have 15 seconds of allotted time for non-specific discourse, so choose your words with expediency. Oh, new arrivals. Of an independent operative nature, one presumes. Did the abbot assign you to help? Yes. Unfortunately, you are the first to notice. Infrastructure requests from the Displaced exceed present resource capacity. The mounting accumulation of prevailing desideratum is regrettably beyond us. Or beyond me, more to the point. I am simply one person, impossibly stretched thin, and unable to attend to the needs of the Displaced. One priority concern stands out. Well, something of a dispute, really. One where my latest near-future prognostics report may provide some guidance. Tell me, what do you know of the Exclusion Zone? Excuse me, but the intricate dance of the cosmos is anything but shady. You see, the seer predicted that a calamity would befall the Exclusion Zone, warning that the barrier must not be crossed. But the ever-disruptive voice of the Displaced is dead set on occupying the Exclusion Zone anyway, laughing in the face of certain peril. Surely, but the abbot asked me to be personally responsible for their continued well-being. The seer has augured death for anyone who enters the Exclusion Zone. Yes, you heard me right. Death. Furthermore, and I quote, "An outside mediator, having earned the confidence of both sides, has a high likelihood of clearing up an ongoing dispute. We can't have the voice of the Displaced sowing disorder. Will you help us? Will you be our outside mediator, as was foretold?" The first step is to familiarize yourself with every angle of the dispute. Talk to the people of Matriarch's mercy. The Displaced want the Exclusion Zone. We want it kept off limits. We can't both be right. Feel free to speak with the voice of the Displaced herself if you aren't already acquainted. Any questions before you get started? I can tell you she's a rabble-rouser of the highest order. Still, she cleaves to her principles. That's something. You can find her outside, among her people, stubbornly defying an order barricade. Novice Seer Vicarage should have ample time to illuminate you on the Order's forecast modeling methods. He's just down the room from here. According to predictions, yes. Or at least, my interpretation of them. I am reasonably certain. More than usual, in fact. Many people around camp support or object to our methods. Speak to them. Form your own opinion. And when you are ready, we will decide the fate of the Exclusion Zone.
What happened to this place?
Law.
We're not going anywhere!
Except for the fact that you ain't yelling and trying to eat me. I'd have pegged you as some sort of prosperous scrapper by the rough look you got about you. You do got a certain feral look in your eye, though. Okay. I give up. Tell me. Oh, so that's how it is. You're the mediator that was foretold. Am I right? The Order wants us to believe that a catastrophe is coming to the Exclusion Zone at any second. Why? Because math told them so. Screw their predictions. We have people, displaced by war and disaster, in sore need of space. There's plenty of room to house them. Am I supposed to fall on my knees and thank the Order because something bad may or may not happen? Sorry. Not convinced. I honestly don't give the slightest whit about the Order's idea of math or whatever calculation tells them that a catastrophe may or may not occur. What does the Administrant want? To shut me up? To discredit me? I don't know what the Administrant's game is, but call me intrigued. Best thing you can do is introduce yourself around camp. See why we need the exclusion zones open.
Where do we go now? Another refugee camp? Another colony?
I predict, with an 8.23 margin of error, that our situation will improve in time.
A visitor.
Stop it with the prediction.
Hello. You weren't mentioned in my latest personalized order projection. Prediction. Granted, I mostly skim the parts what don't cover probabilistic dangers, so perhaps you were alluded to in some, roundabout fashion. Suppose that means you're not a threat. So that's good, right? Yeah, I reckon that's good. I'll say, I try not to make any big plans until I consult my latest POP. First time I got a POP, it was on a lark. It said, Rollo Nast, our seer has predicted you must wear a helmet today. I borrowed one. As a laugh, everybody ribbed me about it. Just after lunch, wind picked up on the cliff above and dropped a mock apple 152 meters straight down onto my head. Fortunately, I still had that brain case on. Sure, but I've had 9 POPs so far, and at least 3 times something similar happened. Avoided drowning in a culvert, sidestepped my mantisaur allergy. Forget the other. Things like that just illustrate the fragile nature of human existence, especially here in Golden Ridge. My co-occupant Ike had a POP done and told him avoid liquids for 48 hours. He ignored it. Later got drunk, passed out, drowned face first in a puddle of water. You did catch the part I said they saved my life, right? I think alive is a notable improvement on dead. That's something you can take to the bank, Figuratively speaking. I don't know why the other displaced have been so slow to take to them. But I'm not complaining too loud. Waited for my latest POPs long enough already.
Since the schism, Apologies, outsider. As a vicar, I am usually tasked with guiding non-order lay people, such as yourself. Lately, the abbot has tasked me with the education of the refugees in our care. You are, of course, free to stay to be enlightened by my lecture, but I don't need an abacus to predict your path lies elsewhere. Well, if it's in the Displaced's best interests, I imagine I can find a moment. Yes, I reckon I do have my ear to the grimy dirt floor of Matriarch's mercy. I hear what common lay people are saying, and the wide array of bodily noises they make. Suppose I, more than any other member of the Order here, connect with non-scienticians. I've begun daily lectures, including practical advice on efficiently planning their days. I frequently launch into extended orations on everyone's favorite topic, math, and meticulously expatiate on our sex origins in the most rigorously pedantic detail. Oh, dear. I got ahead of myself, didn't I? That's an occupational hazard around here. As I'm sure you've read in recent dissertations doing the rounds, education has proven to have a 13.7% increase in overall quality of life. I am single-handedly making a difference here, with constructive pointers on efficient scheduling, lessons on order history, plus some mathematics for a little added razzle-dazzle. Never as many as I would like, perhaps, but my little congregation grows by the hour. Eventually, my unsophisticated layperson friend, the knowledge just seeps right in. Give it a few years and they'll even be asking questions.
What happened to this place? Law. Matriarch's mercy is no safer than the trenches.
Broke my nose last scrap.
Word to wise, don't accept anything here that's given for free. You'll pay, one way or another.
Greetings. What can I help you with? Let me guess. One of your co-occupants is always hanging up his or her britches in your corner of the yurt. Am I right? Or you're dealing with more of a stay off my palate or that's my air you're breathing sort of thing. Pray elucidate the exact nature of your tiff of contention. Oh, you don't know already? Allow me to explain what we have on offer. Here in Matriarch's Mercy, if you're not a member of the Order, you're probably living close to somebody else. In some cases, sleeping on top of them. Sort of thing tends to cause friction between neighbors. Would lead to fights, but nobody here wants trouble with the Order. So they hire our hooligans to battle by proxy. Half the time, people shy away at the first sight of blood. The other, that's what they're there for. We say whoever wins the fight wins the argument. But frankly, it's never anything of consequence, like, okay, hurrah! This guy gets back his mangy button. Now, how can I help you exactly? Ugh, a tourist. Well, clear out then, huh? Can't have you scaring off real customers. I got a bunch of yeggs, 2 pugilized pugilists, and a sick canid to feed.
Look, your nose was just a stand-in for the water taste.
Welcome. Have you come to bask in the Order Zone?
1,068.5 pardons, but my attention is presently 99.81% occupied, coordinating provisions and supplies for the displaced. I have 0 allotted time for random queries, at present or in the foreseeable future. But very well. As the assigned provisioner, I am responsible for coordinating the requisition and distribution of comestibles, medicinals, and miscellaneous vital supplies. The overwhelming majority of my time is dedicated to this, leaving only moments to see to the Order's needs in the settlement. But it is an effort I undertake with great relish. You may not have noticed, but the refugees do not want for food or medicine. With the great disruption that has occurred to their lives, one could hardly blame them. That they are fed and remain healthy is sufficient for me. The Order of the Ascendant is dedicated to the ascension of humanity. Our ultimate goal may not be reached in our lifetime. If I can help others in need today, I shall do so to the utmost extent of my abilities and resources. Appreciate you respecting my time. You may recall, I haven't any time.
Oh, thank the architect you're finally here. I've scarcely breathed while hoping you'd come. I am in desperate need of your help. As a doctor, I'm appalled. We don't have enough beds or private quarters to separate people, so sickness is blazing an unhappy trail through the refugees. Of course, the Order keeps us well supplied with meds, but things will get worse as long as we're overcrowded. Yes, I can treat sickness as it arises. It would be leagues better to prevent it entirely. That means space to spread out. Since you asked, you can run this medicine to Horst Lambing. Just don't shake the man's hand. He has a habit of coughing into his palm when he covers it at all.
You're right. The universe does not... Ah! I pleasantly anticipated this exact moment. My personalized order prediction and weekly prognostics report both mentioned encountering an unforeseen factor about now. I suppose that designation doesn't wholly apply to you, though, does it? Predicting future events is an imprecise science. Currently, that is. Well then, I read that you'd have questions about our predictive methods, correct? We utilize a mix of proprietary research methods to gather as complete a data set as possible, and advanced calculations using well-honed models to effectuate it. None of us predict events with complete accuracy or absolute detail. We'd need to solve the universal equation to do that. Fortunately, we're all working very hard on that problem. The Department of Predictive Analysis provide weekly prognostics reports, and the Department of Predictive Analysis is mainly populated by seers like myself, who represent the Order's most talented mathematicians. After years of study, some can predict events a few seconds or minutes into the future with reasonable precision. Others can estimate with up to 71.1% accuracy several months out. Of course, predictions have grown more difficult with the loss of the archive, but I am not to speak of that with an outsider. No offense. Unforeseen factors, random elements, anomalous outliers, incalculable variables, all of them can undercut the accuracy of our predictions. But as we close in on solving the universal equation, unknown unknowns will become known unknowns. Then finally, known knowns. You follow? Matriarch's mercy is brimming beyond capacity with those cast out by war. But we of the Order rise to every challenge and continually strive to better our guests' existence. Why, I, for instance, have availed my predictive methods to our refugee neighbors in the area. I share the very same surprise. Engagement is admittedly rather low, but at least one member of the camp reports he has benefited from them greatly. One of our recent guests, Rollo Nast, has received multiple personalized Order predictions. I believe he could speak to the effectiveness of our ways firsthand. If my own humble assertions are not enough, I trust his attestations would convince you, and perhaps other members of the Displaced as well. True, my situation does lack a certain refinement. Regrettably, this is Matriarch's mercy. We all must do the best we can with limited means. Well, I do believe you're needed elsewhere. Farewell.
Scienticians around the settlement inform me. Have you spoken to all representatives of the Order? Well then, if you need me in the meantime, I'll be here, up to my ocular organs and requests. Good. Check in with me once you've made significant progress. As with probability, there is an art to mediation, and it requires a well-rounded perspective. Besides what I've already told you, to put it gently, disorganized, which is irregular for a group that prides itself on mathematical acumen. But with effort, patience, and collaboration, I am confident that Matriarch's mercy will soon be a haven for the displaced.
Where do we go now? Another refugee?
I could use a break from fighting injustice. Vexing. We're at the mercy of the Order, and the Order is at the mercy of their predictions. Not to insult our gracious hosts, but these people don't wipe themselves unless an equation tells them to.
Ruth Bassar is the first among equals of the Laureate Council. She will raise humanity to perfection. The Protectorate have only been told a watered-down revision of Order philosophy.
My soup is nutritionally calculated to sustain all bodily functions, but it could use a little salt.
Watch yourself if you intend to nose around that collapsed ramshackle. I swear, refugee settlements aren't what they used to be. Yes, technically a hut is meant to be only one story, because when you stack them, they tend to fall over. Happens a lot. People here need more room to breathe. Can't build in the walkways, can't set up in the exclusion zone, so they build up. Best they can, at least. Don't have proper building material or nothing. They just make do. After a while, the stacked up little huts they jury-rigged come tumbling down. Oh, you put that together, did you? Here, I thought I was being subtle. Yeah, people keep at it. What else choice they have? Order won't listen. Maybe if we interspersed our requests with numbers, they'd pay attention. Seems like all they care about sometimes. They're doing something, which is better than nothing, but not by much.
Prognostication from a seer. Absolutely free.
The paradigm is a self-centered derivative.
Oh. Administrant Agarwal. Here to finally hash this out, are you? Thought this day would never come.
Yes, well, our esteemed outsider here has agreed to thoroughly appraise our situation, in the hope that we may finally close the book on the Exclusion Zone once and for all.
They say you asked around. Listen to folks. That's a good start, at least.
Speaking as a representative of the Order, we will abide by the Mediator's decision if you do the same.
Agreed.
Mediator, I leave the fate of the Exclusion Zone in your capable hands. Speak on, then.
Did he also happen to mention they were needlessly oblique and vague?
Quite right. Rollo's co-occupant might have also supported our warnings, had he heeded them.
I don't know. You ask me, when it comes to these Order predictions, there's a lot of room between a probable and definite outcome. You mean that missionary type who's always talking at everybody instead of to them?
A bit rude, don't you think? But since this mediation was foretold, I will not dispute your findings.
You actually got the Provisioner to give you the time of day. Huh.
Ah, yes. I sometimes forget Provisioner Plotnick is also assigned to minding the Displaced's needs. Her role is largely proactive, while mine is reactive.
Fair enough. The Order does keep us refugees fed and plenty, medicated. To give credit, as I do with blame, where it's due. I'm all ears, Mediator.
The what now?
When grievances between the Displaced approach fisticuffs, we hire Sub-Rosa hooligans to duke things out for us.
That is unquantifiably absurd. And I don't see how moving into the Exclusion Zone will help. Unproductive is one thing. Paid Donnybrooks with surrogate fighters is... well, I'm at a loss for an applicative metaphor to describe it. I understand he is rather short-handed.
Yeah. Someone should get right on that, huh? Anyhow, what was the good doctor's diagnosis? At Auntie's Choice, we'd view this from a lens of how sickness undercuts productivity.
That is indeed unfortunate, but the dangers predicted for the Exclusion Zone may outweigh these concerns. Collapsed, but we built Matriarch's Mercy to optimize comfort and safety.
I'm guessing you're saying this wasn't an official structure, more of a hastily assembled, precariously built shanty. People are struggling to make do with what they have. If we had the Exclusion Zone, this wouldn't be a problem.
I'm aghast these structures weren't built following established Order construction guidelines. By my calculations, you've explored this topic from every conceivable angle. Admirable work, Mediator. I suspect that your sympathies lie with the Displaced. Unfortunate if true, but I leave the decision in your capable hands. Well, if this is the fate that was augured, then I will not complain, though it goes against my very nature. Please, be safe. That's all I ask.
Not to worry, Administrant. The Exclusion Zone is our problem now. Here. You stay out of trouble. We'll try and do the same.
Where do we go now?